How about the 3-2 New York Jets? What a unique scenario here. This team is, I don't think a lot of people felt like they would be tied with the Dolphins after 5 weeks. Now, granted, Dolphins dealing with injuries, there's all that stuff. But I want to talk about Zach Wilson. I thought that he, again, played very well in this one. He looks like a completely different quarterback from last year, I think. And really, it's his way to, the main thing I'm going to talk about in this video is how he's running the offense well. Again, he's still not perfect. I'm going to have some flaws that I want to talk about as well. But let's just get into what I thought about his performance as a whole. So let's start off with this play. This is, again, I just think that Zach Wilson looks a lot more comfortable. I still think there's things he has to work on. We're going to get into those issues, but he just feels a lot more comfortable this year from what he was in year one. And this is a great example of it, of something he was struggling with in year one, where this is going to be a pretty simple play. Run and play action, hit a receiver going over the middle. And watch how right when this play begins, this play works. You schemed someone open. Good stuff. Good work by everyone around Zach Wilson. Wilson hasn't done much yet. Garrett Wilson is the one who is open right here. So good route by him. And again, good play call. But these were the kind of things that I felt like Zach Wilson was struggling at getting consistently. It was the easy stuff that was actually what was the most difficult for him. Listen, he would still hit these throws, but just not consistently enough. And I think the Jets would say that, they weren't consistently getting this kind of situation as much last year as they are this year as well. But as you see, Zach Wilson hits Garrett Wilson and they pick up a first down right there. Man, that's going to be tough for the commentators who have to constantly say Zach Wilson and Garrett Wilson can't just go with the last name only. Then again, they make like millions of dollars, so I'm sure they're doing all right for themselves. But back to the main point, again, the simple stuff is just what you like, is that it feels like he can actually run an offense now, where it really did not feel that way going into this season. Like, this plays another example of them really just, again, running an offense. Simply running an offense. That's all you're trying to do here. And it's what they're going to do here. So it's going to be a zone coverage play. You have Wilson going to run a play action, and then he's going to scramble up to his right. You then have kind of a deep route and a shorter route. And hopefully with the play action, you can get players out of position, and one of these two routes can get open. Look at how, when this play begins, Zach Wilson starts rolling out to his right. You can't really see it. You can kind of see the feet of a receiver who is open right here. So, okay, again, schemed up pretty well, but Wilson has to make a throw on the run. These aren't the easiest of throws, but one of the things that was talked about with Zach Wilson, and we even saw it in the NFL level last year, is these off-platform throws are things that he could just make consistently. And as you see, he does make an accurate throw. They are able to pick up a first down right there. So again, the simple stuff he's hitting, which, again, if it was a typical player, I wouldn't really be talking about this too much. You might wonder why I don't give credit to some other players for making the simple plays. Well, it's because those, this is what's been Zach Wilson's biggest issue heading into this season. So the fact that he's improved on that is promising. And that then sets up things like this. This is definitely going to be, an element of his team doing the work for him. There's absolutely something to that. But when you're hitting the simple stuff, it can set up bigger plays that can happen. So it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and you have a receiver running over the middle. Well, what's the way that the defense covers this route? Watch how you're going to see a corner stick with that receiver running over the middle. This is what you want to do. This is exactly as intended. You might be wondering, wait a second, if there's a corner there, now who's covering deep down the field to the offense's left, the bottom left-hand corner of the screen? Who's covering that? And the answer is kind of nobody, but not exactly nobody. Because if someone does run in that direction, you just hope that usually a linebacker, but just a Miami player in general, will pick up the player trying to get into that area. So Breece Hall right there, who is that player trying to get into that area, well, what do you do if you're Miami? No big deal. Just someone has to pick him up. The issue, no one's going to pick him up. Watch how really nobody pays attention to him, but Wilson runs this play well, hits Hall, and I'm going to have to pause it just for copyright reasons, but he's going to be able to get a touchdown or near touchdown, got to the 1 yard line. They eventually got the ball into the end zone on that play. So a great play by Breece Hall, great play called, also a mistake by Miami. But again, Zach Wilson is now running the offense in a way that he wasn't able to do last year. He's definitely improving. And then there's stuff like this, which, the hope is that he just runs the offense, does the simple things, can be the game manager, and then his incredible playmaking ability can make stuff happen as well, which we're going to see here. This is going to be a fantastic play and something that, a regular game manager you sign off the street will not be able to do it, even if they might be a little bit better at running an offense, as Zach Wilson is right now. The Dolphins are going to drop back into a zone coverage, and it's going to work. Look, Wilson takes the snap, and as of right here, there's not really a lot open. I mean, where should he throw the ball? We can't see what's going on outside of the shot right here, so we don't know exactly, but it doesn't appear to be going too well. We are also just at about 2.5 seconds into a play, which is what I kind of always talk about. At 2.5 seconds, you have to make your decision. This is one play's breakdown. You have to be making your decision now. Wilson sometimes would wait till 3.5 seconds to make his decision. I've talked about how I like that Zach Wilson can run. For me, that's a very big positive in his game, the fact that he can move, but he has to do it quicker, because if you make that decision too late, then it doesn't really add too much value and often hurts you. But right now is when he starts to scramble, and because he scrambled earlier and made that decision earlier, he was able to dive forward and get into the end zone for a touchdown. Now, moving on to this play, there's definitely still some negatives. I teased early on that I will be talking about some negatives. There are some negatives. One that is worth mentioning that's not this play is, I think the Jets are still struggling to get open consistently against man coverage. They brought in Garrett Wilson to help with that, and he has helped, but it's still an issue that I think that they have, that, no quarterback looks good in that situation, but that's not really a Zach Wilson problem. That's a Jets offense problem, in my opinion. The Zach Wilson problems are stuff like this, where I've circled a Miami player right there. Watch as he blitzes in. He's going to get straight through to Zach Wilson, and Wilson notices this right now. Right now is when he notices this and starts to react. So, Wilson being in this situation is absolutely not his fault. I mean, maybe you could argue he should have picked up the blitzer, but that would have been difficult. I'm not going to put too much blame on him for that. I'm not. However, okay, at this point, what happens now is your fault. The fact that you're in a bad situation was not your fault, but how you handle a bad situation can be your fault. Watch Wilson run basically straight backwards, and he's going to end up losing 17 yards on that play. It seemed like the best move at that point really would have been to just take the sack. I get why he tried to do it, because, again, he can do some great stuff. I get it. It does work out sometimes. You have to take the good with the bad, but, this is the bad. So yeah, I mean, listen, just a fantastic day. Again, the stat line is very good, largely due to that one play, that one long completion that definitely helps it. But at the same time, if you're doing the right thing and you're just running your offense effectively, well, that's part of the goal here. Has Zach Wilson shown that he can be a great quarterback? No, he still hasn't shown that. I think that that's fair to say. But has he shown that he can be a competent quarterback? At this point, yes, he has. And that's what's exciting about this team. Listen, who knows what's going to happen? Trying to predict young quarterbacks and how well they're going to play, always a very difficult thing to do. I'm, not great at it. Seems like nobody's great at it except for Chris Sims, right? He's the one guy who seemingly has it down. So because of that, it's really hard to tell exactly what's going to happen. And especially after a quarterback has, played in the NFL, it seems like it's almost more difficult, weirdly, to figure it out then. But as a whole, you definitely have to feel good about the fact that he's coming in and improving upon what he, played in his rookie year. So that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.